What's up, guys? It's the I really have no idea what's happening over here. So.
Sucking in, man. I'm day 2 of my New Year's diet. It's working already.
No. We're here to talk about.
I'm Jason Goolesby, BLACKWELL Realty.
I hope they know who you are by now. I really, really do.
Might have some new people. This is
we may.
Worldwide.
I don't know.
A worldwide audience.
All right, so we're gonna get caught up from worldwide audience, huh? All 4 of you. Wow. Thank you for joining. All right, so we're going to start with, let's start with the South Carolina-Notre Dame game, which was actually a better game than what I thought it was going to be.
All right, yeah.
South Carolina held in there.
South Carolina.
Spencer threw that football pretty good after, I think he finally was like listening to us and go, you know what, I've got to prove Keith and Jason wrong, and I've got to be a better quarterback than what I have been.
So the last time I saw the game, I was actually reffing a basketball game.
I didn't watch much of it.
At a tournament, but at the hospitality room where I like to stay when I go to those tournaments, and they had it up on the big screen or on the projector up there. And when I went to start my game, it was. Kentucky, did South Carolina jump out of them like 21-7?
Yeah, something like that. And then, South Carolina, it was back and forth through most of the game. I thought South Carolina was going to win it, and then Notre Dame came roaring back at the end.
Right. And I saw the very end where Rattler got punished on the last 2.
Oh, he did.
He just got nailed.
Yeah.
Talking about grass in the face mask kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, he had a heck of a game, though.
Yeah, he did.
He was like 28 of 42 or 29 of 42.
Last 3 games of the year, Rattler was.
He threw for 2 touchdowns.
Better than as good a quarterback as anybody.
I would agree.
Yeah.
He really did turn it around.
Unfortunately, that doesn't really cut it.
Yeah, maybe a 5th round pick. Maybe.
What did Beamer get? I saw Beamer get really fired up about some. What was he?
I didn't know that he was never fired up.
No, Beamer got really fired up, and he either got unsportsmanlike conduct. I think he did, which we could segue into the next game,
which would be
Tennessee and Clemson.
Speaking
of unsportsmanlike conduct, I have about 4,000 Facebook friends, and so a lot of them I feel like don't know me very well. All right. And so
no, Jason. I believe that they have got to know you over
so I go
these last few weeks
after Heupel gets his 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah. So I go and post on Facebook. I sure am glad Alabama has a classy coach that never berates the referees, which was obviously
sarcasm. Yeah, very much sarcasm.
And there was people that did know me that said, "Wow, I can't believe you'd say that." Gosh, and there were some people that
some responded with, "Not everybody leaves cash on the sidelines like Alabama," which would be the appropriate response.
Yeah. Hey, unfortunately, unlike you Tennessee fans, I am well rooted in reality, and if it's true, I say.
Look, Alabama gets more calls than any team in the country. I promise you that.
I don't know. The most penalized team. Yeah, they are. One of the most penalized team in the SEC. Yeah.
All I'm saying is that should have been a safety in the Texas game.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
See, didn't go that way though,
really,
did it?
Really slow motion, man, and they made a good point for Whitelow. Because he was on top of the guy's
body. See, this is why.
Anyway, but so it was obviously a joke, and I heard, I believe Heupel was getting onto the refs because they were slow spotting the ball, and he wanted to keep up the tempo.
Yes.
But I could read the referee's lips, and he was saying, "Coach, you can't call me that. You can't call me that." So whatever Heupel said, I can tell you as a referee. But here's the thing about it. In football, that is just so rare to get an unsportsmanlike.
For the coach to get one. Yes.
Saban has like one time and I've seen him just really, and I think part of that has to do with, man, he is the GOAT of college football.
So
they get away with more stuff.
You heard him say they do get away with more stuff.
I will tell you that Tennessee looked great to me.
Tennessee looked really, really good. And that's what I was going to say. We finished Friday night with the SEC just looking great.
Beating the ACC champ.
Yes, sir. And then we start the game, or Saturday morning off, with two SEC teams going at it. We've got Kentucky going against Iowa, and we have Alabama against K-State. And we'll get to the Alabama K-State because that was a good game.
Right.
When did Kentucky know they were playing in Nashville?
I never.
Did they forget that they were coming to Nashville for a football game?
David Ginter would say that everybody was focused on the
Louisville
game.
basketball game.
I say that as horse manure because everybody knew that was going to be a horrible game too because Louisville was hot garbage this year.
Louisville in basketball is terrible.
They're bad this year.
And I think they've won 2 games.
They're bad. And Kentucky beat them by a bunch, and Kentucky's not very good. I will say Iowa and Kentucky, I only flipped over a few times, and
it was horrendous.
I saw the highlights on the ESPN app, and the total for this game was 31.
Oh.
And they scored 21. So the total for this game was 31 points, and Iowa scored 21 points, and that was all in the first half.
Yeah.
They didn't score anything
in the second half.
The game was so bad, I could not stay on it for more than...
The offense went out and had 3 attempted a first down.
There was a pick
and then there was a punt. And then the other offense would get it and try a couple of times for a first down. And then there was a punt.
Yeah. We'll see what Stoops does next year. We both recognize he's one of the better coaches in the SEC.
He is.
He always does more with less, and he'll find out next year.
Well, I mean, he did his best this year.
He'll get I already heard, and I can't remember because I can't keep all the transfer portal stuff straight, but he's already got some people that are been mentioned about coming there. One of them's the quarterback at Wisconsin that entered the transfer portal. You can come on in to walk past. And a little off topic a little bit. Come ahead.
Come on, Kelly, get through there.
The quarterback at Coastal Carolina has decided to stay. So,
has he now?
Yeah, Grayson or whatever.
So he has had the suitors that he thought he was going to have.
There wasn't as much NIL money out there as he thought. I don't know. As a teammate, I'm just thinking you cheated.
Well,
you cheated on us. So
I would agree with that. However, Florida did pick up the Wisconsin quarterback.
Oh, I thought he was maybe going to Kentucky. Okay.
Maybe we can.
So Alabama, K-State. I really thought that K-State would be fired up for this game. I think they were. And that's your K-State was your pack. No, that was the Big 12 champion.
No,
Big 12 champion.
Oh yes. That's right. They did.
So Tennessee beat the ACC champion. Alabama beat the
Big 12 championship.
And
so they now reside in SEC land. Is that what you're saying?
I guess.
And then Florida beat the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah.
Champion.
Yeah, Utah. So Kansas State really came out, gave Alabama all they can handle the first quarter or so,
and that was it.
And it was 10-0 at one point, and Kansas State was driving in to score again, if I remember correctly, and would have made it 17-0. Went for it, 4th and goal, and
got stopped.
Will Anderson.
Yeah, Will Rogers is the quarterback.
Will Anderson was trying to cover the tight end that released in coverage and fell down. The K-State receiver was wide open in the end zone. The quarterback missed him. And Alabama turned over, and then that was the turning point
for that entire game.
The ball game.
Yep.
That's why I say, you know what, kick the points there, go up 13, because it was just deflated their balloon, and Alabama just started pouring it on after that.
And that may have changed the game had Alabama been down 13-0 versus 10-0 and getting a turnover.
Yeah. So within two touchdowns there. I will say I didn't panic, but if they scored a touchdown there and it had been 17-0, it could really change the complexion of the game. So
before we talk about the we'll go with the Michigan TCU game. Did you think that TCU was going to come in there and put that whooping on Michigan? I know that the score is 6 points, but TCU would get ahead, and then then Michigan would slowly claw its way back, and then TCU would get ahead again, and then Michigan would slowly claw its way back.
I was in the kitchen trying to cook, and every time I would start, I would hear the TV going crazy, and I stopped, and there's another touchdown.
Yeah.
96 total points, in this game. And even though TCU only won by 6, I will say that I'm like you, man. It seemed like TCU had a much bigger handle.
They did
Max
throughout that game.
Is it Duggan?
Dugan.
Dugan or Duggan, whatever. Max, whatever.
It's not like the kid from the Dugan family where they had like 20 kids.
Oh, it's the Duggars.
Oh, it's the Duggars.
One son went to jail.
We'll stop now.
Yeah, we'll stop before we get.
So,
I will say that TCU, it did really surprise me.
I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought it was going to be Georgia and Michigan, and now it's going to be Georgia and TCU.
Yeah.
And with that being said, we'll talk about the
same thing here with this game. Ohio State would get ahead by 2-3 scores, and
the Georgia climbed its way
back in. And
I never really felt like Georgia had control of it until the fourth quarter.
No, I didn't either. And here is the thing.
But I was sitting with an Ohio State fan, and he was excited through 90% of that game. And before the last second field goal for Ohio State to win it with, 2 or 3 seconds left on the thing, we said, watch, he's going to kick it left.
Yeah.
And then he shaped it left big time.
Well, I thought the same thing the commentator said when Georgia scored that last touchdown. There is a ton of time left on the clock. I don't care. You still got to go ahead and score.
That's correct.
I don't believe you slow the tempo down.
No, I don't
assume
either.
that you're going to get in. Heupel has done that before in the past with Tennessee
and it didn't
last
work.
year, and it didn't.
It bites you.
And so I believe you cut hay while the sun is shining. And so Ohio State, in the kicker's defense, there was a bad hold, and
nobody's going to remember that.
They'll just remember him.
Unless it's Ace Ventura.
And I feel really. So did you hear about
Laces out, Dan.
Did you hear about the Atlanta Falcons, the tweet they had to take down?
No.
So the Atlanta Falcons played in the same stadium on Sunday, and their kicker kicked a 21-yard field goal on the same goalpost to win that ball game. And so the Atlanta Falcons tweeted, "This is how you kick a game-winning field goal."
Oh, that's a college kid that you're busting on.
That's exactly what the critics of on Twitter said, and they quickly took it down. Of course, everything got screenshotted, and
there's like some time hop or time machine or something where you can get it back.
That kid kicked, the professional kicker was an all-pro kicker, and it was 21 yards, so it was basically like an extra point. And this is a college kid and was kicking 50 yards.
Yes.
And I will say nobody remembers the kicker.
It was 53 yards, actually, I think what it was.
I remember John Madden asking Pat Summerall. Y'all remember those great commentators back then? Pat Summerall was a kicker. And,
yes.
And I remember John Madden asking Pat Summerall, is the kicker ever really considered part of the team? And Pat Summerall said, only when he makes it. Only when you make it. And so the Kruggles kid or whatever his name was, had a weird name. I felt sorry for him.
Ruggles, because it rhymes with Huggles.
Huggles, yeah. I feel sorry because now in this day with social media, everybody's there. Like 2 million people roasting him and mentioning him, and he. So, if it makes you feel any better, Ohio State, you're going to get punched in the throat next game anyway. So
you were,
regardless of who won that. So let's.
Who are you going to pick? TCU or Georgia?
We're going to not save that for another one. I think we should go ahead since we're.
We're here. We might as well just go ahead and divulge our information. I'm still going with Georgia. It didn't matter that it's TCU or Michigan.
Yeah.
I think that Georgia overall is still the better team and has been throughout the season.
Yeah. I think Georgia showed that when they got in a punching match,
they could fight back.
And I mean, they did that throughout the year. I mean, they did. Missouri had them beat the whole time and come back. And great teams like that, and I'm not using this as an example, but how many times over the last few years have we seen Alabama be down and they come back? Auburn last year when they went to overtime and Auburn led the whole game, they come back and won. I mean, and I don't think Alabama's a great team this year, but Georgia is. And with that being said, and TCU's fought back in they've won a lot of.
Going back to the Big 12 championship.
Yeah.
They lost that in double overtime, triple overtime, something like that. I mean, they've had to scrap throughout the season too. Granted, it is the Big 12 in my opinion.
I hope Georgia wins because I'm an SEC fanatic.
I agree with that.
However, Would it surprise you if TCU won?
Actually, it would.
It would?
It really would. And I'll say this because my son got on to me about this. They do have a really good receiver. They've got a good tailback, and their quarterback's quite athletic. He moves around. He can sling the ball. But I feel like Georgia's already prepared for that. They've already seen all these guys.
Yeah. I hope Georgia wins.
Are you?
I'm going to pick the upset. I'm going to pick TCU, and Sonny Dykes becomes the national coach of the year.
Let me ask this: do you think that there's more talent on Ohio State or TCU?
I think there's more talent on Ohio State.
Okay.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean,
Do you think Ryan Day at Ohio State, and then
Sonny Dykes?
Which one do you think's the better coach?
Probably the Dykes guy. I think he's done more with less. Now you could argue what kind of conference he's in, but Ohio. Some people have said, well, Ohio State, and I don't get. I'm not. Ohio State wins that game if Marvin Harrison doesn't go out. I could say the same thing last year if Jamison Williams doesn't blow his ACL. Alabama beats Georgia last year, so I mean, injuries are part of it.
And wins the national championship.
Right, 2 years ago.
As a Florida Gator fan, there was this championship game in 2006. Yep, Florida and Ohio State.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're
was Tebow the quarterback?
Yeah. Well, he was the backup. Chris Leak was the quarterback, but Tebow did come in and get some first downs. Okay. But they had this receiver called Ted Ginn Jr. And I don't know if y'all know this, but at that time he was the bad man on the block in football.
Ohio State.
Yes.
He was the quarterback, wasn't he?
No, he was receiver.
Oh, wasn't he?
And he returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And during the celebration, he messed up his knee and he didn't play anymore. And I had to hear for a whole year, Ted Ginn took us out. And here's what I said then, and I'll say now. One player shouldn't have kept you from winning that game.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
so,
true. I can't remember games that far back. I'd have to go back and watch a bunch of YouTube clips. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that.
The only reason why it's because it was a Florida game, and
I don't remember Alabama games though. But I like watching on Facebook. Facebook Watch will pull up old
football games.
Football games from the '80s. Like the other day, I watched a clip on Elway's The Drive.
Oh yeah.
Where he drives all the way down the field against the Browns to beat them. I remember where I was watching that. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was at my Mama Goolesby's house, sitting in the
Mama Goolesby.
Mama Goolesby, because that's where we went Sundays after church. But anyways,
for Sunday lunch.
Actually, we ate before we got there most of the time, and then we went after we ate.
Oh.
Yeah, there's too many of us for her to cook every Sunday for everybody. So, she had 28 grandkids when she died.
Woo.
My dad.
That's a lot of Goolesbys out there.
From Alabama.
That's a lot of. That's scary.
My dad's the oldest.
Can you imagine 27 more of these?
Yeah, not all of them are chubsters like me.
I didn't mean like that. I just meant.
Sure you did. You're saying, could she feed 28 guys? All right.
Well, hey, we've got 2 more games. We've got LSU and Purdue.
No.
All right, we didn't see any of those.
Yeah,
all I know is that LSU blew out Purdue. We're not going to lie to you. And then we are very glad that Mississippi State went out with a win. They got one more win for the Pirates.
Won their last one for the Pirates. So best of luck to them down there and next year and their new coach. And I hope we win a bunch, except for not when you play Alabama.
And then Mondays we'll start doing basketball next week.
Yeah.
And then the Buffalo kid, the safety for what's his name? Damon
DeMar
Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin. Yeah. Enough said.
We talk about all these guys like they're not human beings, and then you watch something like that last night where he made a tackle and stood up and then just collapsed.
Cardiac arrest, and you've heard about it if you've made it this far. So
still human beings out there playing. They're playing a game to entertain us.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever remember an ambulance coming on the field during an NFL game.
No, not like that.
They put them on a cart and take them off, and
I think in the 80s they had to do stuff like that.
I saw
him getting CPR.
They were getting CPR,
and they had to resuscitate him and get his heart pumping. again while they were out there.
Booger McFarland, put it really good last night before they canceled the game. He said, listen, I get it. I'm a former player.
Oh, yeah.
Football is entertainment.
Yep.
And there ain't nobody going to be entertained after this.
No.
So NFL, just go ahead and cancel this game.
And that's the absolute truth.
Right.
And plus, you just, as a football player, man, reality hitting you in the face right there. Like,
sure.
Hey, I can do something wrong and really be hurt.
And we don't show, and I guess this may be ironic for us talking about it because we roast some people and we're just making fun and stuff. But, I mean, people on social media are so...
They're not a good quarterback.
Well, if you're blonde-haired, blue-eyed quarterback at South Carolina, anyways. But, people don't want to show anybody any grace,
right.
because the NFL didn't call it fast enough. They were roasting them. They're roasting everybody. Everybody wants to blame somebody for
something.
What
was great is seeing all those people gathered up together praying to make sure that their brother on that team, and not just their brother, their entire NFL community last night, on both sides gathered up and was kneeling and praying.
Everybody was talking, even on regular radio this morning, everybody that transcended this, it was more than a sports story, it was a news story. And, man,
and that's the greatest and the terrible things about sports is that sometimes it bleeds over, and sometimes they're good stories and sometimes they're bad stories, and we hope that this one ends with a happy ending.
I hope it ends well. And really, who cares? Who cares if they make the game up? They'll figure out some way to make it. And I don't think Cincinnati.
I mean, it did affect my fantasy team. I'm really waiting to figure out whether or not I won now.
As long as he lives, and
as long as
I don't think the Bengals or the Bills, either one, care what their seeding is in the playoffs. They'll figure out some fair way to do it.
That's right.
I mean, in the old days, they used to do playoff ties by flipping a coin. So
that's right.
Whatever.
I think it's still further on down the SEC list with ties.
It actually does. It does come into that.
It does. I think it's like the 6th or 7th option on down the list in the SEC.
Flip a coin. It still takes place in and that's still a
TSSAA.
TSSAA is a.
That wasn't just a fictional write-in in Friday Night Lights. It really does happen.
It really does happen. So.
Thank you guys.
Bonjour, Mark Chrisawn.
See you next week.
Bonjour.